Good evening, everybody. It's me, Comic Crack. 2024 Sunday wrap, first one of the year. Brand new book. Not much written in it. A few items. So it'll be probably a quicker one tonight. We had our chat this afternoon over on Ross's channel. So if you would like to go and check that out, I encourage you to do so. We're going to try to be back next Sunday. It'll be on my channel. And yeah, that's about it. Let's get into it. Dracula, issue number 3. This is from the Universal Monsters image. And what's that? Shadow line? Is that the shadow line symbol? I think that's what it was called. James Tynion of the Fourth and Martin Simmons. I believe there's only one issue left of this, and I'm surprised at how much I've been enjoying this book. It's been a solid take on a story that we've heard a million times. From my memory, there's not a ton that's delivered here differently. It may be a little bit different in how the story is being told, which characters are we're seeing this story through, but overall, you know the story of Dracula. It's not something that is completely alien. The art, on the other hand, is pretty fucking stunning. I really, really dig it. Some incredible painted stuff in here, man. After reading this one, I was reminded kind of the 80s and 90s horror books that I've been reading from places like Eternity Comics, etc. These one-shots, these very, very short micro series. This really feels like it's from an era. The only difference is that this is in color and it's on really nice paper stock. But I think if this was just presented in black and white or very minimal coloring, kind of like this, I think it would fit in perfectly with that era of books. Like a face like this, I think is very much of an era. So beautiful stuff. Chris, Chaos and Comics, in the stream this afternoon, he was saying that this is the same artist from Department of Truth, I believe. Tynion's also writing that one. It makes me curious to pick that up for sure and maybe check that out in the library just to give it a read. I can't remember if Department of Truth, I don't think Department with Truth was the one that I had started and not finished. I don't believe I've ever read an issue. If I have, I guess that says all you need to know. So beautiful looking stuff here. Like I said, issue number 3 of, I believe, just 4. So solid book. I guess that'll mean it's getting a collection pretty soon. So if you can't find the first issues or you don't want the single issues, I'd recommend checking it out when it comes out. Went to one of the books that I don't have down here. My daughter and I finished reading. It was My Little Pony Camp Big Hoof, issue number 5 from IDW. Surprisingly fun book. I've spoken about it here in the past. I think I might have shown it off on a Sunday chat. It had some really amazing art and coloring to it. It was a pretty fun little story, pretty engaging. My daughter's got a few My Little Pony comics on a pull list, as well as a couple of other things, but that's kind of the main book that we always try to keep on her list. And we like reading them together. They're pretty fun. Going into my daughter's bin will be this one. I went to Red River Bookshop yesterday. First Saturday of every month, they have the upstairs open, and you can dig around there. There wasn't anything specific I was looking for, just kind of, because it's only once a month, I do like to go up and just poke around. I've seen some of the stuff a million times, but it's still fun to poke around, because every time I go digging, or if I'm hunting for comics, depending on what I've been reading, there's different things that I'm looking for in the forefront of my mind. It's not like I go and just look up the same books every time. Sometimes it's fun just to browse some areas that I haven't paid too much attention to. And lo and behold, this one was here. For those of you who watched the 2023 wrap up, the best of the year, one of the books that I praised was the Sarah Winchester one shot. The same creative team from that. When I had looked them up, it said that they had worked on Haunted Mansion. I clearly didn't read it close enough. I thought it was a single issue mini series that they had done the whole thing, and I saw this and I thought, well, that's great. It's got everything collected into one then, so I don't need to hunt down the issues. Turns out this is the format of it. It's an anthology based on the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland. So this one is Slave Labor Graphics and Disney Press presents, and I think it was 2007. Oh, next page. Yeah, 2007 there. There was a couple of good things. Oh, focus, thank you. There was a couple of good things in here. There was a lot of just kind of whatever pieces as well. Like this first one is a good example of, it was just whatever. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. The second one was mildly entertaining. It was about the kind of the creation or the building of the Haunted Mansion, and it's about these two architects who are working as a team that kind of have it out for each other. So they lay traps for each other. Each of them are sick of living under the shadow of their partner, so they're looking to dispatch the other. These were kind of fun too. They're just short little sort of more comedic strips about these animals that are buried out in the yard, and they come around every night and kind of just bitch and groan about being deceased. And there's a bunch of stuff that's more kind of filler. I think my daughter might get more out of this than I did, so I'll pass it on to her and see if she's interested. The one that turns out there was two stories actually. The two that I was most interested in was this the interview, and then I think the other one was called the follow-up interview, which was a short. And these were the creators from that Sarah Winchester book. Dan Avado and Drew Roche on visuals. Not as kind of stylish and tight as the other one. I found the other art was a little moodier than this, but this was still a pretty solid story. This is kind of the one that jumped out at me as kind of having a pretty dark undertone that could maybe make an interesting mini series just on its own. I don't know if it continues. I think there might be another volume of this book. I'm not really sure, like that they participated in. I mean, I don't know if they continue this story into that volume as well. So we have our main character who's going for a job interview at the mansion. What she doesn't realize is that she got in an accident along the way, and she's now dead. Although in kind of the world outside the Haunted Mansion, there's people that have found her on the scene early on and are trying to revive her. So this our sort of fortune teller floating head in the crystal ball here is telling her that, you know, she doesn't belong here yet. So she's kind of sucked out of the places. She's brought back to life. And so pretty interesting. And then she says that looked like a pretty, sorry, I can't read that there. That looked like such a nice place to live. So she starts thinking about the place itself, the Haunted Mansion itself. And when we come back to the story, we see her now in her life, and she's basically wistfully thinking about being back in the Haunted Mansion. So basically daydreaming of dying. So it turns really kind of dark and gothy, I guess. So it seems like there's a little bit of work there that could be interesting, following it up in kind of a darker book or whatever. So I don't know if that will be too dark for my daughter or not, but I'll pass it on to her and see. So I'm glad I found it. I'm glad I was able to satiate my curiosity because of enjoying that other book so much. It's great to find this stuff, and at least for dirt cheap. I think this was $6, $5, something like that. It wasn't very much. So good to kind of grab it anyway and see what it's like firsthand. The one that was kind of the surprise of the visit. Let me raise the camera a bit here for this one. Was this flip book? It's Dracula on one side and Frankenstein on the other. Adapted and illustrated by Alice and Joel Schick. So earlier tonight, hello, Jeff McLeod. Earlier tonight, I did a little bit of digging online and read up a bit about Joel Schick specifically. I only found one website. I haven't done a real deep dive, but there's something about this art that just resonates with me. This is a kid's book. It was sitting on the shelves, $3. Couldn't resist. There's very cartoony kind of characters in it, but I thought the backgrounds and some of the layouts were really kind of amazing in this. Like, I love this stuff here. So when I was reading about him, turns out Joel Schick worked a lot for Sesame Street and the Muppets, doing a bunch of the art for their books that they put out. And I don't have the set anymore. I had it when I was a kid. I had rebought it for my son when he was little. It got passed on to my daughter. It was a Sesame Street kind of encyclopedia. And I wish I still had those, because I have a feeling he did a bunch of art in those books. And even he himself online says that millions of kids have seen my art, but none of them know who I am, because he was always kind of uncredited, I think. Or at least in his mind, he was uncredited. So he did a lot of work in children's books. And then him and his wife, or eventual wife, who we met kind of in the industry, broke off and did some things on their own. What I'm curious about is a list of what those other things might be. See if I can find something online. Like, this is a really great page here too. So pretty great. And there's some real moody drawing in here. Like these kind of the vampire harem, for lack of a better word, is really amazingly drawn. So the main character's wife gets turned into a vampire eventually. This is another good page. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, do you know this book, Jeff? As it kind of goes, it's very, and again, it's written for kids, so it's not like it's the most complex writing. It's pretty much, here's the narration, here's the people kind of repeating the narration to some degree. The story moves along nicely enough. Like, they decided that they had to hunt down the vampire and drive a stake through its heart and cut off his head, or cut off her head. So then you get the page with the friends going, we have to find so and so he can drive a stake through her heart and cut off her head so she can end the curse, so it's pretty much written like that. But it's more about the art. It's a nice little story to read. Another one, maybe come Halloween, maybe I'll read it with my daughter. So here's his wife being turned into a vampire. And there was one big spread here. Here we go. This is the one that kind of really had me stop in my tracks and pay attention. Like I said, very cartoony figures, but such amazing moody art for a kid's book. I thought it was really impressive. So this one appealed to me more than the Frankenstein one did. The Frankenstein one had some great art in it. Same kind of thing with the story, very meant for children. But I found that the Dracula one, the art was just that little bit more appealing. But there was still a couple of things in here that were pretty good. Like the lighting on that brick is pretty nice there. There was another one coming up here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. I love this mountainscape here and the snowy rocks and everything. I really like the way that looks there. So pretty cool find overall. And at 3 bones, why the hell not? Yeah, so looking forward to reading some more about this couple here to see what else they've done. So that's it for everything I read this week, which I actually read in a day or so, in the past day. But I'll show you kind of what else I found at Red River. And then I went to the flea market today and grabbed a couple of things. Barefoot Gen volume number 1. This is a 2021 edition from Last Gasp. It's a book I've always wanted to read. What did they have on here? $10 for this book. I think cover price was what, 15, 16, 17. I think that says 16.95. So pretty much in brand new condition. Everything looks great. I'm very, very much looking forward to reading this. One that I've, like I said, I've always wanted to read. Did Drawn and Quarterly put out a version of this as well too? Possibly, maybe hardcovers or something. So very much looking forward to digging into this, and then it'll be keeping my eyes open for the other volumes, but a great place to start anyway. A couple of Caliber Presents. He had a bunch of them. These are the two that jumped out at me the most. This is Caliber Presents number 4. Picked it up because it's got a Baker Street bit in it. I assumed that it would just be a sample from the Baker Street comic, but in the back of my mind, I thought, well, maybe it's a story that's only here in Caliber Press. It is just an excerpt from issue number 1. But I think these Caliber Press are pretty great to pick up, and I don't often see the early issues. It's usually kind of around this, like this is number 17 here. It's usually around the 12, 13, 14, 15 issue mark that I find these things. So this was pretty nice to be able to pick up. I think it's what, issue number 1 or issue number 2 that's the pricey one, because I think it has the Crow in it. Is that correct? The first appearance of the Crow, maybe, or something like that. Anyway, so there you go. So Honor Among Punks Overture, excerpt from Baker Street number 1. So still great to have, you know, the kind of completist in me there. Hello, Donald Rex. Sean is still going. Good thing I have several computers. Nice. Well, you tell him that we're competing. We're now head-to-head live stream here, head-to-head competition. So this is number 17, and the reason this one jumped out at me is there's a Guy Davis sketchbook in here, and I can't remember. I don't believe it's stuff that happened in the Baker Street sketchbook that I have. There's some of it that looks familiar, and some of it that doesn't. Here we go. It's back here. So again, just a few pages. And then with these ones, they're just fun to read. There's usually something else that's interesting in these. I'm so far away from having even half of this. I've only got maybe 5 issues, 6 issues possibly. So I've got a long ways to go for this. That's pretty great there. Lucy as a punk. So there you go. A couple of Caliber Presents. Strangely excited about this one. I now have the entire, you heard it here, folks. First, folks, I now have the entire Outlander mini series that came out on Malibu/Eternity Comics. 1987. This is issue number 3, 4, and 5. I think it was a 7-issue mini series. I was really attracted to the covers of the other ones. I've never seen these out in the wild. I usually keep seeing the same issues that I already have. And there was something just striking about those covers. I haven't sat and read any of the issues. Who do we have here? Scott Finley writing. Brooks Hagen is the artist. And like I said, 1987, 1988 in here. So looks great. It's of that era. Like, look at this full pager here. That's beautiful, beautiful black and white work there. So very excited to kind of have this whole thing. I gotta now hunt through my boxes and filing cabinet to find where I put the other ones, so I can put this near the top of the pile to finally read. So yeah, look for talk of Outlander later. And the last thing from Red River Books that I was really shocked to find when Colin and I did the stream where we looked at the 1991 Previews magazine. I saw an ad for a book called Tandra. I had never heard of it before. Colin had heard of it. When I showed him these, he said that he'd also seen an ad for Tandra in an issue of, I think he said Comics Journal. So I found 4 issues. From what little bit I looked, I think the Dragon Rock Saga might have been the only thing that came out in single issues. Then they collected all this other stuff, all these other story arcs in kind of graphic albums, so longer format. I haven't even really looked through these. I don't know anything about the history of it. I don't know the era that it's coming from. This stuff is 1994, these editions here. And the art on the advertisement really had me, and these covers are pretty amazing too. I was a little surprised to flip through and see almost like a Prince Valiant-ish type of presentation with just text as part of the panel. The art looks pretty great. I've never seen so many people with square jaws. Even some of the women, I can't remember if it was in this issue that I flipped through originally, but even in some of the women that had a very square jaw, like even this dude, it's everybody is yeah, there you go. Even she's got a very prominent jawline there. So I'm very curious about this. Really looking forward to seeing what this is about. It looks like they also do a good job of here we go, giving some of the history potentially, or these are letters here, but I think there's some good kind of backup stuff going on. Come to Tandra. And then a synopsis of the story going on. So these are for those who came in late. If you missed any of the back issues below and your comic retail doesn't have them in stock. Oh, so maybe they did do Tandra 9. Oh, no, there we go. So these are Link Story, Fall of the Ring. Yeah, so Tandra volumes plus the rare out of print Tandra book 1. So there you go. So yeah, I wish I knew more about it. I don't, but looking forward to checking these out. There you go. So 2, 3, 4, and 5 there. This afternoon, paid a visit to the flea market, and he had a couple of underground books I picked up. I have a copy of this one already, but it's sometimes nice, especially with stuff that I really like for my collection, like this is Jim Thompson, to see if, I mean, at least I'm pretty damn sure I've got this one. If not, I have it now. Always nice to pick these up when they're cheap, because this one looks in really nice shape. So it's always good to try to upgrade maybe ones that I have, because when I was buying those lots of underground comics from eBay, there was a couple of those lots where it was really dodgy as far as the condition of them went. So what do we got here? This is 1973. First edition of 10,000 copies, published June 1973 by Last Gasp. And for those of you who don't know Thompson's work, it's gorgeous, noodling, noodle-haired, highly detailed, very 60s, very kind of psychedelic stuff here. He did a kind of bootleg, an early bootleg of Doctor Strange, and then Conan the Barbarian on the flip side. Strange spelled Strenge, and Conan, I think it was Conen is how he did it on those. So this one is pretty text heavy, and actually looking through it, I'm starting to think that maybe I don't have this issue, or I didn't previously have it. Like, look at that stuff. I should also say that even flipping through this, not all of his books are this kind of text heavy. Although there is some of it for sure. Like, look at this detail here. Beautiful. Yeah, really stunning looking stuff, man. Oof. So there you go. Eternal Comics. I think I might have called it Eternity before, but it's Eternal Comics. This one goes over there. Another one I'm pretty damn sure I have, but I think this is an upgrade as well. This is Tough Shit Comics. This is Robert Williams on the front here, print mint. 1972 on this one. This is an anthology, so I mean, starting right out of the gate. Patrick Cosgrove on the inside front cover there, beautiful piece there. One of the best from the Undergrounds, one of the most twisted anyway. Mr. Jim Osborne starts us off here. Yeah, I haven't flipped through this one yet to have a closer look at it. Oh, do we have Cherry Pop Tart here? Yeah. Oh yeah, Bill Griffith. Tales of the Toad stuff, I think, right? Oh, it looks like Mr. Crumb himself. Roger Brand. Oh, Mr. Roger Brand. Good stuff here, people. Yeah, this is great. Look at this. Roger Brand is fantastic, or was fantastic. So, good little underground anthology here for sure. For sure. Some Justin Green. While you're up, get me some smack. It's very unusual for a Justin Green piece there. White Slavery. So, very cool. Tough Shit Comics. Two to go here. Phoebe the Pigeon and the Pigeon People, magazine size. I know the strip. I know, obviously, Jay Lynch. I've never seen this before. So this is volume 1, number 3 by Kitchen Sink. Copyright 1981 is this collection of Phoebe and the Pigeon People strips, which I'm assuming appeared in underground newspapers and things, or college newspapers. So never seen this format like this before. I'm sure I've seen some Phoebe and the Pigeon People comics, but had no idea this was out there. So a beautiful find. It's nice at this stage when I can find some underground stuff that I don't have, because generally when I do find it, it's things I've seen a million times. So pretty great there. There they are on the back. And last but not least, a magazine called Pure Entertainment. This is issue number 2, magazine-sized anthology. Again, one I've got no fucking idea about. I actually just opened it up before the stream started. This is 1982. Look Mom Comics, Pure Entertainment number 2. Yeah, so I know zilch about this thing, but when I had a very, very quick flip through it, I was enjoying it already. This alien agent here, art and story by somebody named Fama, F-A-M-A. The other one that jumped out at me as well was this final story here. Where is it? This Taboo. Where's the artist's name? Is probably in there, but this panel specifically really jumped out at me. It's that kind of black and white style that I really dig. So I'm very much looking forward to digging into this. Let's get the artist's name on that last one. Roger Stewart. So we have Roger Stewart, Mitch O'Connell, Mike Davis, Milton Knight Jr., Pete Friedrich, Charles Schneider, Eric Cartier, and Gene Fama are the creators in here. for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 different short stories. So yeah, a brand new one to me. Seagate Distributors Inc. ad on the back. Brand spanking new. If anybody knows anything about this, Russ Works, if you're watching this in the future and you know anything about this, please feel free to leave us a comment here. Yeah, and this is Fama on the front. Very bizarre looking style. 1982. It's amazing the stuff that's out there, man. So there you go. Happy New Year. Let's dig into 2024 and read more comics together later.